Excuse me, sir. Can I talk to you about a sport called disc golf? Have you heard of this sport? If I can just get your ear just for a second, sir, if I could just... They never want to listen. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am very excited to get out there and try out this disc that I was able to get my hands on this past weekend. It's the Prototype Peak. Very hard to get a hold of. I came out here to John Reed Memorial Disc Golf Course at Matthews Park, and I'm going to play a couple of holes. I'm going to try this on some different lines. I'm going to compare it to the Praxis and, of course, the Pure, and see how this disc holds up. A lot of hype, a lot of excitement around the disc, so I'm thrilled to be able to throw it and show you guys what this disc can do for somebody of my skill level. Let's break it down, let's look at the profile, and let's get out there and throw this disc. All right, so first let's do a comparison on the profile. You can see here it just has that little bit of the bead there, where the Pure does not. I would say the shoulder is a little bit broader on the Peak than it is on the Pure. Very close though, but I think just a little bit more of a blunt nose on this one, so maybe a little bit slower than the Pure flies through the air. We'll see. Comparing it to the Praxis, the Praxis actually looks like it has a little bit of a higher profile, a little bit of a taller profile, taller shoulder. The edging here though, not quite as drastic, so I think maybe this Peak is going to fly a little more stable. But I'd say enough speculating. Let's throw it and find out for real. Time to fling some frisbees. All right, I figured we'd start things off on a little bit of a long one. Hole 13, par 4, straight tunnel shot, about 400-ish feet. All you gotta do is keep it in the middle. I'm gonna throw the Kristin Tattar Pure, followed by the Praxis, and then the Peak. Just initial thoughts when feeling the Pure versus the Peak. They're similar, but there's definitely a difference there. You can feel the bluntness more on the Peak, and that little drop off here, that dip on the bottom is more noticeable than on the Pure. The Pure just feels more rounded in the hand. I didn't quite get on that one, but it's down the middle. There we go. Nice and straight, little baby fade. That's better. That was a good toss. Okay. That's got to be close to where the Praxis ended up. Touch more hyzer. Definitely held hyzer pretty much throughout the entirety of that flight. So I feel like I didn't get really good spin on the Pure, which is kind of one of the reasons why I've put that disc in timeout. I seem to be able to get better spin and control on the Praxis. With the Peak though, that didn't seem to be an issue. Came out pretty clean on the line that I wanted. It's a nice pushing straight hyzer, and it looks like it's further than the Praxis. So there's the Pure. You've got the Praxis next up in line. And then about 20 feet further up is the Peak. I don't feel like I threw that disc any harder or with any more intent than I did the Praxis. They're both pretty similar. I maybe backed off a touch on the Praxis. And the Pure just I just couldn't get it quite clean out of the hand, but this is a pretty simple upshot from here. All right, so let's throw the upshots from where the Praxis is for all three discs. Start with the Tattar Pure. This is just kind of a baby hyzer. There's a Creek OB on the right, and we're probably about 175 or so. I shorted that. Better line. Yeah, better shot overall. I probably should have marked. There it is. I think I can throw this on a similar line as I did the Praxis, and it should fade back. I'm gonna pop it a little bit. Oh, that's money. Oh yeah. That was very smooth out of the hand, just a touch more pop. Never in danger of turning. Held that hyzer. That was nice. All right, I picked up the Pure. That was the furthest one out. Praxis is about 26 feet or so. Sweet. And the peak is about 15, not even. Let's move on to an ACERUN hole. I'm going to jump around a bit because the park's getting a little bit busy. It's a nice afternoon. It's late in the afternoon. People are getting off work. So we'll go to hole 14, straight shot, sub 200. Maybe a touch of turn out of the hand or something that flips up, or you can force something over. There's also a hyzer line on the right. But I think for all three of these, I'm going to go slight turnover. I'm going to try not to block the shot. Well, same order. Kristin first, then Praxis, then peak. Also try not to fall off of this platform. Oh, I never turned it. I just came out straight. I always forget that that Pure is just a touch more stable. Try and give this one a little more turn. There's some turn, too much turn. But that's parked. And peak. I'm going to try to give it about the same amount of turn I gave that Praxis. Yep. I gave it about the same amount of turn, but a little more power. So that looks to be about 15 feet further. All right, they're all closer to each other than I thought. Just didn't quite turn it out of the hand. I may or may not keep score for all three discs during this loop. I don't know, we'll see. Peak. Then I'm going about 15 long. See if it works as a putting putter. Hey, that came out clean. I'm excited to try that in the Sense plastic once it drops, which I believe is going to be later on this month. So I'll definitely be getting those. All right, hole 17 is a par 3. You've got a hyzer line that comes through this gauntlet of trees. You've got a straight-ish shot and then a turnover shot or forehand to kind of get you here. Kind of a tough ask. You want a stable approach disc or putter. So I'm going to take all three up to the tee box and give them a toss and see how they do. Slight hyzer. This is such a touchy hyzer. It's 2 inside. Well, I got down there. If it misses that tree, it's good. Yeah. That's the Praxis. Nope, that turned. Okay. That's the first bad one I've thrown with it. Good to know I can still do that. I don't know if I threw it flatter than I thought I did, or if it just came out with more wobble. It flattened and then turned. So the winner of this battle on hole 17 is going to be the Praxis. Praxis, about 15. 244 feet. Slightly downhill. Specific gap, that's why I love the Praxis. All right, we've arrived at hole 3. It's a par 3, currently in the straight position, which comes in at 244. And it is pretty much straight downhill, pin right over there. There's the straight shot up the gap. There's the hyzer around these trees here. A couple of different ways to play it. I think I'm going to try to go the straight gap, maybe just a little bit of turn. All right, same order. Tattar Pure first. Well, there's that hyzer finish. Man, it's so stable for a Pure. Felix. That was garbage. That's about the worst I've thrown the Praxis possibly ever. Got away with it. Boy, really got away with it. It's a little bit of redemption for the peak on that one. I torqued it over, but it never flipped all the way over. It just kind of held straight. And then at the end, it just kind of faded back out along the right side of the target. Definitely the closest one out of the 3. We'll try to give these some honest bids here. Kind of blocked off, to be honest. Straddle City. Straddle with some hyzer. Get left. Didn't get left. You're not going to be able to see where the peak ended up, but see it go in the basket. About 20 feet. It's the first time we've only gotten the birdie from the peak. All right, hole 4, par 3, 255. Big turnover line. Hyzer shot. Kind of a bonus get for a putter for me, but we'll see if we can get it. We'll try to get on these putters on these turnover lines. I don't think they're going to have enough stability to fight back over on the hyzer line. It's good height. A little short though. Also got a non-helping wind. I've got a head cross, which is kind of stalling the disc. I might try to go peak on the hyzer line. Oh, that's awful. I'm trying to compensate and it's not working out. Yeah, it's pushing everything over. Wow, wow. That wasn't bad, but it was never going to fight out of that wind. We're learning what these discs can do, specifically the peak. I threw that one up the hyzer line, relatively flat, head left to right, swept it over. Just missed that last tree, but I think it's about pin high. None of the three were great shots. I think the peak is the best of the bunch. Yeah, Pure is in deep circle 2. Might as well do it. Oh my gosh. And the peak is a little closer, not much, just pin high though, where the Pure kind of got knocked down by the wind. The peak kind of kept fighting through. Ooh. Hole 10, which is currently in the par 3 position. Down the hill and to the left. 414 feet. Definitely not a putter shot for me. Also, the same headwind that we had on hole 4, head cross, is present here on hole 10 because it's going in the same direction. Again, not great conditions to kind of display these putters, but it gives you a realistic view of how they're going to perform in some actual wind. They're all neutral putters, so you want to get that feedback. Yeah, terrible height. I'm not doing that disc justice. Ugh, Praxis. My body's trying to fight my new form with its old form. I'm in a weird battle amongst myself. See, disc golf is a funny game. My brain knows how to play disc golf, but it has to outsource the job to my weird, unathletic body at times. There's a disconnect there, which can be infuriating. Oh, that Praxis is so good. Yeah, buddy. Man, that felt great. A little wider, but here comes that stability of the peak. Yeah, that's right in the middle too. All right, we still got a lot of work to do. Peak is up ahead. The Praxis is a little further up ahead. This is a tough shot to ask the Pure to do. We'll give it the angle and see what it does. See if it gets through. Nope. Oh, it kind of did. It kind of did. That might be a putt. All right, you see the basket straight in there. The peak being further right kind of optimizes the angle a little more. We can try the low sneaky line here with the peak. Nice and low-ish. About chest height. That's money. I'll nestle up. That's so good. That's so good. And the Praxis is further up, but the angle's a little pinched. A little more fan grip spin. Yeah, nice and early. Shankadoodle. Yeah, god awful. Work in progress. The peak is parked. The Pure fought through and gave me about a 16, 17 footer. The Praxis, unfortunately, I threw very badly with the fan grip. So a new project for me is throwing putters and mids with fan grips. Nuts, never had the height. But that was a bad one for the Praxis. And it had absolutely nothing to do with the Praxis. All right, hole 12, par 3, 290. You have a turnover line here Very tight hyzer line there. Kind of a lot to ask for a putter. I don't normally throw a putter on this, but I want to try to test the shot shaping of all three discs against each other. Try to put together the knowledge that I think I've gained so far from throwing these discs over the past 6 or 7 holes. It's a toughie though. A lot to ask for any putter. It's also a lot to ask for you guys to see the total flight of this disc, because this is a tough one to film. This turnover line is so tight. There's also a fence OB left. Get through. Got through. That's a look. Maybe a little higher. Go. Oh, nicked it on the way by. A little scared. There's also, camera probably can't see, there's a random chicken in the middle of the fairway. I've seen deer out here, millions of squirrels, rabbits. I've never seen a random chicken. I'll try not to hit it. Go. Oh my goodness, it snuck through. Best of the bunch. The peak come into play on the last hole. That is a tight line that I hit 3 times. And I feel like on all 3 throws, I was never more than 70% confident that they were going to make it through. So my earlier hiccups with the peak, I think, were I was trying to kind of pop them a little too hard. It's still a neutral putter, and it flies great when you just smooth it out. But like the Pure, I think if you're trying to really torque on it, then you bring in off-axis torque and wobble and different variables that a putter of that stability doesn't necessarily love. The peak is noticeably more stable, but it is not a zone or an AVR X3. You still need some touch. That's a big chicken. It's a rooster. I wasn't kidding. He's right there. Look at him. Look at him. I'm going to fight him. Okay. Again, the rooster is kind of right in the danger zone. He's making noises like he's going to get aggressive towards me. Sorry, buddy. Looks like he's wearing furry boots. Pretty cool. Pure. A little closer. Still C2. Get left. Didn't get left. Hey, buddy. Okay. I promise I'm not trying to hit you. There you go. He's going the other way now. Yeah. Clean as a whistle. Actually felt pretty good. Oh, Yanks. That's a New York Yankee right there. All right, my buddy and I here are done. That is a wrap on the sneak peek at the peak. Final thoughts. Great throwing putter. Very straight. Has some fade. I ran into a couple of holes where I put a little too much torque on it into some wind and it turned. So it is still very much a neutral flyer, but it will give you some predictable fade, right? I'm definitely going to pick some up when they drop. I think there's a slot in it for the bag. Definitely going to be throwing this some more. I'm very interested to try the Sense plastic, which is going to be their base plastic for actual putting. I think it feels really good. So if you've thrown the Pure and you just want something with a similar flight with a little more stability that has a bead, if that bead is a big thing for you, I would highly recommend giving this disc a shot once it releases. Let me know in the comments below. Are you excited for the peak? Are you going to give it a shot when it comes out? I know I am. I want to hear your thoughts on it. I know Isaac Robinson said that these are going to be his putters for the season once they drop. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe. Support myself and my rooster buddy here. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Go out, fling some Frisbees. Let's see those wings, baby. You're a big boy. What's your name? Hey, have you ever thrown a disc? Have you heard of disc golf?